Hello and welcome to the Joinery Business Podcast. The economy is something that is easy to feel like a victim to. It is constantly in flux, so to speak, always going up and down, peaks and valleys. Right now, I would say it's definitely in a low point, and a lot of people are feeling victim to the consequences of where the economy is currently at. In today's episode, Bruce goes over some food for thought around why you shouldn't let the economy make you feel like a victim, and some methods that can help you get a new frame of mind to use where the economy's at as a way to grow and create a more powerful and successful business based off of where the economy is currently headed. If you have any questions about today's episode or want to have a discussion, be sure to jump on over to the Joinery Business Hub on Facebook. Now, without further ado, let's jump into today's episode.
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. It's Bruce from the Joinery Business Podcast and the Joinery Coach and the Marketing Joint and a few other amazing things. If you haven't already had your first coffee, I'd welcome you to your first cup of coffee. All right, so today what I'm doing is I'm bringing up some commonly brought up topics around the industry. You could, if you wanted to, you could jump on any Facebook group, probably from any industry, but certainly from our industry. There's a lot of cabinet making, shop fitting, furniture type of groups filled with really, really amazing people. People that genuinely love what they do and genuinely have a love for the trade. A lot of those people are not so great at business thinking, let's say. And it comes up in conversations and we see it so often. And I often talk about being in victim mode. Now that sounds really harsh, but if you really just go up a level and look down on what I'm saying, to be in victim mode means that you're not in control of things and you're being affected by everything around you. And that generally generates conversations such as, how's business today? How are things going in business? How's the economy? And a lot of people say, the economy's tanking, so we're going to be in trouble. You know, that sort of victim conversation. And you can read these conversations as they happen. And what I know is great businesses that I've either worked with or I've seen working are businesses that are not in victim mode at all. They believe that they're totally in control of their future. So when we talk about change, we talk about you have two choices when it comes down to change. You can either not try to control it and influence the outcome of what's about to happen. In other words, you're a victim to change and you're being a victim, or you're what happens to you is happening to you. Or you can say, okay, the economies, if we think back as far back in time as we want to go, when we talked about having economies, economy goes up and the economy goes down, the economy goes up and it goes down. And that's something as constant and assured as death and taxes. One thing I can tell you for certain is that at any given point in time, the economy is either going to be going up, getting better, or it's going to be going down and tanking. That is always going to be the case. There's never going to be a point in time where the economy is just skipping along and it's going to stay flatline for the whole time. It just doesn't ever happen. So why is it such a surprise in business when something like that happens? And all of a sudden it's like, well, I didn't see that coming. And I always slip into, well, why didn't we see it coming? We knew that the economy was going down. If, in this period of time, if the economy is actually, in our area or in our country or whatever we want to talk about, if the economy is actually on a bit of a slide, we know it happens and we can predict it. We can look back over a period of time, and they say every 5 to 7 years the economy has a change. That traditionally is probably quite true. So if we think about business, we should predict these things. And right now the economy is probably on a bit of a downward spiral. We just had a global pandemic. Shouldn't come as too much of a surprise to us if certain economies are going down. Here in Australia, the interest rates are crazy. The housing interest rates have had something like 14 or 15 times they've gone up. So, people are hurting right now. And the ultimate best outcome in business is to say, okay, these things are going to happen, and put some contingencies in place to say, when these happen, what do I do about them? But don't be a victim to them. Don't think that when times are good, it's going to stay good forever and a day. And we did see this quite a bit where people were going, okay, well, during the pandemic, a lot of joinery businesses had more work than they could handle. And it was almost like, well, this is how it's going to be forever. And now that the economy is getting a little bit tight again, there's a bit of a surprise. That really shouldn't be the case. So I guess the first little message from this podcast is don't be too surprised if the economy is either getting better or getting worse, because that is exactly what's happening right now as we speak. And that's gonna happen forever and a day. The big question is, if you were to forget about that in business and just say, what do we need to do in business, regardless of the economy, regardless of what's happening in the economy? What are we going to do in business to make this business thrive and be very, very successful? And if we can put a plan in place, then it's probably true that if economy is a little bit better and we're implementing our plan, your business might move forward a little bit faster. But it's also true that if the economy is a little bit tighter and we're putting that same plan in place, your business is still going to improve, but it may not improve as quickly as if the economy was better. That doesn't matter. The point is that we're in control of things. We're actually in control of our own destiny. We're not a victim to it. And I really want to stress that anybody in business needs to get out of the victim mentality and thinking that things are affecting them, which is true. Things happen, and you can either let them affect you or we can do something about them. And ultimately, the outcome of your business and the success of your business is going to totally be dependent on what you're doing to make your business successful, not based on what anything else out there is having done or influencing you. So this podcast is really about saying, be in control of things, create your own future. It is true that the economy might be going down or it might be going up, but that shouldn't stop you from growing your business. That's basically it. That's the point of this podcast. It's pretty straightforward, simple one. Don't be a victim to the economy. Accept that the economy is going up or going down at any given point, and have a business plan, have a strategy in place that is focused on your business growth, not based on what's happening in the economy. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of food for thought. Bruce from the Joinery Business Podcast. Have an awesome day. Peace out.